One of the biggest fears that I've had in gaming has stemmed from my time playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt back in 2015, almost or about 8 years ago now. When I first played it, it blew my mind completely. It was like on anything that I had ever played before. I'm not a huge open world fantasy RPG type of person, so you wouldn't catch me playing these types of games. But everything about the world and its qualities and its abilities drew me into the story and drew me into the world. How many women can I romance? How many cool people can I meet? How many unique side quests are there? After giving it a go and after playing the game once again about 8 years ago, it instantly took the #1 spot for the best game that I had ever played. And for me, that was a big deal because I think at the time, God of War was my favorite game of all time, God of War 3. But The Witcher 3 just shot right up there. It didn't make me like God of War or any other game at the time that I considered the best any less. Just The Witcher 3 was just a unique experience, something like I've never experienced before in my life. So as the years went on, I played The Last of Us, I played Spider-Man PS4, I played Red Dead Redemption 2, and that shot up right into my top 5. Another one that I'll mention is The Wolf Among Us, a beautiful game, instantly shot up in my top 6. But no other game took that #1 spot. There was always something that I clinged on to, something that I held on to when talking about The Witcher, and my consideration for it still being the greatest game that I had ever touched among all those great and amazing games that I just mentioned. So it almost became like, you know what, it's set in stone and The Witcher 3 will always be my favorite game no matter what. But why? Is it because of nostalgia? Is it because I remember it as a good time, a time where I could sit down and the only worries I had were school and, you know, maybe a girlfriend here or there, but it was mostly just school and I didn't really have to worry about anything. I could just sit down and play this beautiful, vast, amazing world and embody this character that I've got to know, and it just made me happy. And is that why The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is the greatest game that I've ever played? Is it linked to that, to the past, to what I did before? It could be. So my biggest fear in gaming was to sit down and replay The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I made myself a promise after I finished the game that I would never ever play this story again from beginning to end. I never would. Why? Because I got into the game by accident. I didn't know anything about it, and I got the absolute best experience that I could ever ask for. I got the absolute best partner. I got the absolute best ending, and I was happy. And my Geralt ended up being retired after Blood and Wine, and I didn't want to mess with that. I didn't want to go back and play and accidentally make a wrong choice and get something different. I don't like change, and I fear it sometimes. I don't want to change it. I like what happened, and that's my story, and I don't want to mess with it. But since I started the YouTube channel in 2020, I have been debating on should I give The Witcher 3 another go, because the biggest question that I have is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt really the greatest game that I've ever played? Is that really true amongst God of War 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us Part 1? These are freaking cinematic masterpieces. So I sat back and I said, you know what? I need to test this because I can't just keep putting The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt at my #1 spot in front of all these amazing games because it was a game that I remember fondly. Let me play it and let me see if it really truly is everything that I remember. That's why you've seen some of these videos that I've posted regarding The Witcher 3. Is it as good as I remember? The power of choice, and so forth. So I decided to face my fear, and I have taken on the biggest task that I have taken up to this date on my YouTube channel, and I am replaying the best game of all time. I am replaying my #1 favorite game of all time. And to tell you the truth, it's just as good, and if not better than what I remember. Geralt as a character is powerful, is strong, stoic, funny, you know, and those were one of the things that I didn't remember. I did not remember how funny and how sarcastic this freaking Witcher is. I mean, he says things that completely just make me bust out laughing.
Could have used some of that famous biting wit of yours. Where'd it disappear to? I mean, you were meek as a novice at Aretusa called into the dean's office.
The love interests are equally amazing. Triss and Yennefer, both. It's a difficult decision. It makes you think, it makes you question things, and it makes it harder for you. The motivation of trying to find your daughter because you know she's in danger and you'll do anything and fight anyone to get to her and help her, that's beautiful. It's beautiful. The monsters that you encounter, the deadly forces that you see, the ravaged and brutal world that the continent is. I mean, dangers lurk at every corner, and you don't know who to truly trust. And every decision that you make has a consequence, and that consequence can be a very bad or a very sad consequence. So you have to be very, very, very careful with the things that you do and the things that you say and how you react to people and how many people you kill. You know, you have to be weary of the consequences that may come your way. Truly, it was a beautiful thing playing this game for the very first time, and there's nothing like it. I've always said if there was a way that I can erase my memory and replay a game, it would have to be The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It really, really would, followed by The Last of Us Part 1 and Red Dead Redemption 2. But right now, I can see why it's been my favorite game of all time for all these years, and I really, truly don't think that it's going to change anytime soon. If anything, it just strengthened the position that I had for it. It strengthened the love that I had for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and it just brought me back into the world and made me once again familiar with everything that I loved about it. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you've been enjoying some of the Witcher content that we've been bringing out lately. There's more stories to tell about The Witcher 3, more personal stories, more stories about the game, and I'm looking forward to doing that. If there's anything at all that you guys are interested in knowing, or anything at all that you guys want me to cover or talk about specifically, please let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much once again. I will see you in our next episode of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.